Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. It was a frustrating weekend. The Dodgers dropped 3 out of 4 to St. Louis. You had some umpiring issues, especially Saturday night. Max Muncy got thrown out yesterday. And so, hey, you came into the weekend really on a high. You leave a little bit shook up, and then you go into Atlanta and then Tampa Bay, having lost 3 out of 4. Not exactly how you wanted to start your road trip, but hey, that's exactly what happened. So you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You called up both rookies, Gavin Stone, Bobby Miller, and you circle the wagons and you get after it from that perspective. Oklahoma City won yesterday. Tulsa, they lost their game to Corpus Christi, the final game of that 6-game series, and then Great Lakes and Rancho both won as well. A lot of great action from that Rancho game. Thayronliranzo has been playing very good lately. Raynedoncon has been hitting a lot of home runs. We're going to cover all that. But before we get to all that, just a reminder, if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily by donating, we do now have a GoFundMe account. Just go down to the description and click that link. And once you do that, that'll take you to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe account where you can help by donating. Also, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, and hey, share this video. And after you do all that, become a subscriber. And then after you become a subscriber, click that notification bell, turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you will be notified and you'll never miss a thing. Okay, frustrating weekend. Max Muncy gets thrown out. Mookie Betts, we talked about that. He gets called out on the questionable, strike, not questionable, it was a ball, but on the strike 3 call to end the game. You lose 3 out of 4. Like I said, you just got to pull your bootstraps up. You got to get after it. You got to circle around the 2 rookies, Gavin Stone and Bobby Miller, and you got to figure out a way to survive the next 2 series at Atlanta and Tampa Bay. You're still in first place, and in baseball, there's an old saying, it's never as good as you think it is, and it's never as bad as it seems. So again, the Dodgers lose 3 out of 4 over the weekend, and quite frankly, the St. Louis Cardinals, they were just better. I mean, they played better, they hit the ball better, they pitched the ball better, and hey, umpiring aside, excuses are everywhere, and yes, there were some situations to where, I bet if you went and looked both ways, you could probably complain, and you could always do that at every single baseball game. But in my opinion, bottom line, tip your cap to the Cardinals all weekend. They won 3 out of 4. They're playing a lot better. Yeah, they do have the losing record. Yes, the Dodgers did sweep them at home. Yes, I did. I was talking last week about, hey, let's go and sweep them again. Not the same team we saw in Los Angeles. So, just give credit to the Cardinals. They're playing very well. They have a couple of guys in their lineup that have just been absolute pests of the Dodgers. It just seems like, every team has that one guy that you can't get out. And then their dudes, Nolan Arenado, they showed up as well, and they played well. So, hey, man, when you score 10 runs and you get base hits off of, we're going to talk about it in depth here in a minute, but, they were hitting every pitch Clayton Kershaw had. They were hitting a slider. They were hitting his curveball. They were hitting his fastball. They weren't swinging at balls. They were swinging at pitches that were in the strike zone. So the Cardinals, simply put, were just absolutely dialed in. Having said that, the Dodgers are still in first place, 29-19 on the season. First place by 1.5 over Arizona. So Arizona's in second place by 1.5. Then you have San Francisco, who is 6 back of the Dodgers, and then the Padres, who are 7.5 back. So all in all, hey, mention, chunking your season. You want to come out of this Braves, and then if you can come out of this Braves and then Tampa Bay series and still be in first place, and certainly be in first place by more than 1 game like you are right now, I think you would consider that to be a successful road swing. But so far, 1-3, that's not good. So, that puts a little bit more pressure, certainly on the rookies coming up. Gavin Stone, we're going to talk about him a little bit more later, and Bobby Miller. And then, like I said earlier, it makes it to where guys like Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Chris Taylor, Max Muncy, Will Smith, the guys that are veterans, they need to circle the wagons. This needs to be a situation to where they take the bull by the horns and they say, hey, it doesn't matter who we have on the mound. It doesn't matter if it's the guy's major league debut. It doesn't matter if it's his second start. We're going to create an environment that's going to make them comfortable, and then we're going to circle around them and make sure that they know that we have their back to the point to where we're just going to go out and win a game, and circle the wagons from that perspective. And the Dodgers certainly have enough talent to do that with. So, hey, I'm excited to see what Gavin Stone has. I think if you follow Dodgers Daily, you know how high I am on him. So, Gavin Stone, he gets the start tonight. Super excited about that. He is a young man that has the elite changeup. He's going to sit, anywhere from 94, 95, somewhere in there. And then, he's hit 98 in the past, but that's at the top end. But it's the changeup and then location and the tunneling effect. You're going to watch his fastball start in one spot. So if the fastball starts in one spot, you're going to see him throw the changeup to that exact same spot. That changeup hopefully will fade off to the right and tumble. And then you're going to see him also start his slider in that same location. And that thing, starting in that same tunnel, will turn left. So you're going to have the four seam that's going to ride. Then off of that four seam, you're going to have the fading and tumbling changeup turn right and the slider turn left. So that's predominantly going to be the three-pitch mix for Gavin Stone. And so hopefully he has his command. I didn't say control. Control is just throwing strikes. Command is actually throwing the ball where you want to within the strike zone. When Gavin Stone has his command and he's throwing to the correct tunnels and he's able to start every pitch at that exact same starting spot as far as the tunnels go, he is absolute wipeout dominant. So, hey, you can't really measure him by horizontal break or vertical spin or any of that kind of stuff, or even velo. It's more about, his command and then just his bulldog mentality. And another thing that you're going to notice about him is that his blood never boils. I mean, his teammates, they sometimes, they kid him a little bit because it just seems like his heartbeat just, his heart never races. It's like he never gets, nothing's ever too big of a deal for him. So I do think the major league setting will make him better. It's a setting to where he will be totally relaxed. He loves the big moment. So I think that's a big positive for him tonight. And then he's going to have guys like we said earlier. He's going to have Miguel Vargas, who also is a rookie as well, and James Outman. He's buddies with those guys to begin with. But then he's also going to have guys like Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and Max Muncy and Will Smith and all those guys, Austin Barnes, that are going to make him feel comfortable. And there is no better manager on earth than Dave Roberts to make somebody feel comfortable as well. So, hey, good setting for Gavin Stone. Super excited about that, other than the fact he's going up against a really good team in the Braves. But I think, going up against that really good team, it's only going to bring the best out of him. And for more on him, I'm not going to dive too deep on Gavin Stone and all the analytics on him and a whole lot of video on him on this show, for the simple fact that I've already done a prospect feature on him. I've talked to him 3 or 4 different times. I have, if you want to look at those prospect features, just search Gavin Stone on my Dodgers Daily YouTube, and I have several different prospect features on him. The latest one was about a month ago. That's about 15 minutes long, and it's only on him. So if you want more on Gavin Stone, go ahead and I'll put it in I'll put the link in the description, but hey, just click that link or just search Gavin Stone on the Dodgers Daily YouTube, and you'll find everything that you need to know about him. Okay, scoring last night, hey, the scoring wasn't necessarily the problem. It was the fact that, it wasn't necessarily either that Clayton Kershaw, hey, he lost command here and there with his four seam, and there's an old saying in baseball that the 2-out let up. A lot of times you get 2 quick outs, or you get 2 outs an inning, and you just kind of let your brain just relax a little bit because you're like, oh man, I'm almost out of this thing. Worst thing you can do. We saw that yesterday, and as Clayton Kershaw hinted, hey, it's not necessarily the base hits. It's the, because you're going to give up base hits. Give credit to the other team and the other hitter, the other player, that you're competing against. The second and third doubles, they were actually good sliders. So 3 hits on sliders. One of them was a hanger, the first one. The next one was actually in on the hands, and it just kind of got dunked into the left field, just dumped into left field, a little blooper. Then the third one was a really good pitch. It was low and away, and it was, close to not even being in the zone. And just give the Cardinals credit for staying on that pitch and just doing a good job. The first one was to Nolan Arenado, and to be honest with you, Clayton Kershaw is lucky that ball just stayed in the yard. The last 2 were good pitches. Just give Edman and Mercado's the guy that just seemed like a thorn in the side to the Dodgers all weekend. They just went and got good pitches. So sometimes you got to give them credit as far as that goes. And then, the curveball got hit as well. And then Mercado also nailed a fastball. So the thing that was frustrating about yesterday is that, it just seemed like, hey, once you make an adjustment away from the slider, you go to the curveball, then that gets hit. You adjust away from the curveball to the fastball, then that gets hit as well. And then at other times, you're hurting yourself by not being in the strike zone. So just a frustrating day all the way around for Clayton Kershaw, and especially seeing the fact that we've talked about the bullpen being taxed. I know, him being a leader and just a remarkable pitcher and a Hall of Famer, definitely a Hall of Famer, and just how awesome he is. He knows the situation. He knows the Dodgers needed him to give them length, and I think probably more so than just the runs he gave up, he's probably the most disappointed, if you put a true serum in him, about the fact that he didn't give the Dodgers the length that they needed yesterday. And we saw the effects of that. Hey, that domino effect, you might be able to get through one or two games, and that goes all the way down. The Oklahoma City Dodgers, they called up a couple of guys, Keegan Curtis and then Marshall Kasowski, to come pitch for them from the complex league. So that domino effect goes all the way down, where you're having to, replace guys in Oklahoma City that went from Oklahoma City to LA. And then as your bullpen has to throw too much, then eventually that catches up with you, as it did yesterday. Shelbymiller gave up an earned run in 2/3 of an inning. Justinbruihl uncharacteristically gave up a couple of runs in 2/3 of an inning. Wandersuero gave up a couple of runs. Suero's been kind of that up and down guy. He's been really, really, really good at AAA Oklahoma City. I have some really close-up video of him on my Twitter. Just go to the Dodgers Daily Twitter and do an advanced search for wandersuero, and you'll see video from like the third row up, and you get a really good look at what his pitches look like coming in. He's been just lights out in Oklahoma City, has been not quite as good at the major league level, which is expected. And then Phil Bickford, he was the one that came in at the end and actually did go scoreless, after the game was, I don't want to say out of hand, but it was pretty well decided at that point and pretty late. So Shelbymiller, Justinbruihl, wandersuero, Phil Bickford, they all had to throw yesterday. And then Clayton Kershaw, again, had the frustrating performance. And the Dodgers, they are not able to keep up offensively. I think that's the best way to put it. Not able to keep up offensively and lose yesterday's game and drop the series 3 out of 4. That brings you to this week. And then, we've talked about Gavin Stone. Tuesday, it's going to be Miller time. Bobby Big Time is going to make his next performance. And I got to see his last performance at AAA Oklahoma City with my own eyes. And, hey, he sat 99. I didn't say he hit 99. He sat 99. And I'll tell you this, he is one competitive dude. And then, the other Thursday, I believe it was, he pitched, I believe, on Wednesday. I was there. I got to go on Thursday, too. I did some interviews, and I was in the stands, about an hour and a half before game time, maybe 2 hours before game time. And he was running all the bleachers up and down the entire stadium there at Bricktown Ballpark. And one thing that's very obvious about him when you get close to him, he is a big dude. He's very competitive. He has the 100-plus fastball and 4 really good pitches. So what you're going to notice about him, hey, he's not just a fastball. He has, a lot of people think his fastball is not necessarily his best pitch. He has a really good changeup, a slider, a curveball, and he is one competitive dude. He will ride adrenaline. He will get momentum. He's not necessarily emotional, but he is very competitive, and you'll see that whenever he does not like failing, and he'll let you know about it. Hey, he doesn't like any of that kind of deal, and he likes to do something about it immediately. So I really think you're going to go from the polar opposites. You're going to go from the really chilled, laid back, kind of just the blood never boils type personality of Gavin Stone to the really fiery Bobby Miller the next night, and it's going to be super, super fun. And I assure you, I am way less worried about it than probably a lot of people. Hey, everybody has bad performances, so I can't guarantee you exactly how this is going to go, but I can say this with a lot of confidence. These are 2 really talented young pitchers that, if you just like the Dodgers always do, play the odds over the long run, are going to be really good at this level. So I'm super excited to watch them pitch on back-to-back nights, so I will be tuned in and dialed in. I hope you will be as well. Okay, what did you think about the Max Muncy deal? Leave me a comment. Hey, first of all, Max Muncy should have been struck out on the pitch before that he took. both of those pitches were strikes. He took the second one, okay, and then what did you think about his comments afterward where he said the umpires got bullied into changing their calls? The thing about that is both calls were right. So where Max Muncy was right in this situation is if you call the one pitch a ball and then basically the next pitch is almost in the exact same location, all anybody wants is consistency out of an umpire. So, hey, if you call the one a ball he's expecting, you call the second a ball, then when you don't, then you don't know which pitches to swing at, except for the fact they were both in the strike zone. So it's kind of a situation to where both sides were right. And I think if you watch Dodgers Daily, I don't ride the fence a whole lot, but hey, Muncy had a point that I was expecting it to be a ball because you called the pitch before that a ball. The umpire has a point in the sense that, hey, well, it was a strike, man. I mean, just because I missed one pitch before doesn't mean that the next pitch isn't a strike as well. And the umpire was correct in calling that a strike because it was a strike. And then, Muncy gets dumped whenever he points the knob of the bat to Immel, who's the third base umpire, who Immel was the home plate umpire the night before that struck out Mookie Betts. So there was some kind of spillover to that. And Muncy was very careful in the way he addressed that. So, hey, maybe the third base umpire was a little bit defensive in that scenario. I don't know exactly. Usually there's a magic word or two that is said that gets a guy dumped. But, again, it was, Immel, the third base umpire, was the home plate umpire the night before. So, there was spillover to that. Max Muncy was frustrated. The Dodgers, eventually lose 3 out of 4. And I've said this a couple of times. One thing I really love about Max Muncy, he's one of the guys that has stuff in his neck. He's one of the guys that is, intense all the time and focused and shows emotions and real just fiery emotions. And I think this team needs that from time to time. But yesterday, hey, he admitted, he probably could have handled things a little bit better. He could have been smarter about the way he did things. But if you look at both sides, Muncy's frustrated. He wanted consistency. The umpire was right in calling the third strike. And then whenever he pointed the bat to third base, I think it's fair for the third base umpire to assume that he was carrying over Max Muncy was the goings-ons from the night before. And then Immel, I don't know if he overreacted or not because I don't know what was said. So when that whole scenario, it just seemed like a baseball situation to me. Like just typical baseball. Hey, you're in the middle of the season. You have a bunch of competitive dudes out there. Hey, it's grueling. It's tiring. It's a grind. And there's a lot of pressure on these people. And sometimes it blows over the top. And I don't think it was much more than that. So, hey, again, that big series, you got to move on. I'll say it one more time. It is what it is. You can't change anything in the past. All you can do is wake up the next day. One of the beautiful things about baseball is you get to do that, and you get to do it all over again. So, hey, kind of a quick show on the Dodgers today. Not a whole lot to talk to and talk about. The AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers scored 2 in the second, 2 in the seventh, 2 in the eighth, and 1 in the ninth. And that was all they needed to take down the Space Cowboys Sugar Land, the AAA affiliates of the Houston Astros, 5-4. You're looking at Michael Grove. He had a good outing back yesterday. He was sitting 95 miles an hour, and he hit as high as 97, and his curveball had good break on it. He did give up a couple of runs, Michael Grove did. Matter of fact, he gave up 2, and he had 7 strikeouts, just 1 walk. And so I think all in all, he came out of it healthy. Again, he had the good velo. He had the good break on his breaking ball. So I would have to think, that Michael, I did message him yesterday that, hey, good start back and getting back in the groove of it. I think he was happy with the fact that he came out healthy and threw pretty well yesterday, and everything felt good. Offensively, Drew Avens, we're going to get into all these, but Drew Avens had a couple of hits. Ryan Wardo had another hit. We was 1 for 3 yesterday. Johnny DeLuca, he's playing right field. He had a hit. And Yanni Hernandez had a hit. Devin Mann had a hit. And Patrick Mazeika had a couple. Jahmai Jones also had a hit as well. We're going to get into some of the guys that were brought up from the ACL because, hey, the Oklahoma City Dodgers had to call up Gavin Stone and Bobby Miller, so they had to replace those two guys. Well, they did it with a couple of guys. Drew Avens had 2 hits yesterday for AAA Oklahoma City. He was on base 4 times. I love how this guy gets on base, and right here, hey, he gets called out, but he is not out. I have slow motion on it. Just go to my social medias. He was in no way, shape, or form out on that. I actually slowed it down, did a slow-mo, and showed it pretty good that he was safe on that. Okay, so hey, right here. Okay, I wanted to show you an example of the challenge system. Look, this pitch is called a ball. The catcher immediately challenges it. Okay, and within 18 seconds. Watch this. You're going to see it come up on your screen. Okay, watch just for a second. There's Jahmai Jones. This actually goes up on the video board in the stadium. The previous pitch has been challenged. Here it comes. Okay, overturned right there. It actually was a strike. That whole process from the time it was challenged right there to the time it actually got overturned, exactly 18 seconds. Both teams get 3 challenges. If you challenge a pitch and you are correct, you get your challenge back. If you challenge a pitch and you are incorrect, then you lose your challenge. And like I said, each team gets 3 challenges. I think that Major League Baseball needs to go to this challenge system after the Major League All-Star break. And here's the deal, Saturday night Mookie Betts got called on that pitch, but the home plate umpire, Emil, he got graded out, and he only missed 3 pitches all night. It just so happened that 2 of those pitches. Patrick Mazeika had 2 hits yesterday. For the second time in a week, Devin Mann tied a game in the 8th inning. Right here, look at that bomb. I'm telling you, I've walked that alley plenty of times. I've stayed in that Hampton Inn, and I have parked in that parking garage. I can't tell you how many different times, and that is a long ways away from home plate. So that was an absolute bomb that Devin Mann hit yesterday, and it tied the game, and it was the second time within the last 7 days that he has hit a home run in the 8th inning to tie a game. So Devin Mann, I tell you what, whenever he gets a hit, it seems to always have an impact, and look at that leverage. He hit that. So the residual effects of Gavin Stone and Bobby Miller having to go up. Here's Marshall Kosowski, which we know Marshall pretty well. I mean, he was with Oklahoma City. I believe he had the most amount of outings and performances last year for AAA Oklahoma City. He got brought up from the Complex League. So did the guy we're going to watch next in Keegan Curtis. And it was good to see Kosowski back. He is in the West Texas A&M Hall of Fame. He was there for 1 year, and they're in Canton, Texas by the Amarillo area because he led the nation in strikeouts. Matter of fact, he has a single-season strikeout record there at West Texas A&M. If you talk to anybody back there in the Amarillo area, Canton, Texas, they will tell you this guy is awesome. And by the way, check out the shoes. Those Air Jordans are absolutely badass, man. So if you're going to take them out in those things, you better be pretty darn good. And I'll tell you what, Marshall Kosowski, big old country Texan boy, he loves to hunt, he loves to fish, which I love because matter of fact, that's what I spent my whole entire Saturday afternoon doing. We went to the farm over there east of Stillwater, and we walked around all of our pastures and through all of our creeks. You gotta love what Alex Vesia has done since he went back down. A lot of times you see it, guys get sent down. They have 2 choices. They can either bellyache, moan, and whine and pout about the fact that I'm not in the major leagues anymore and I'm better than being in the minor leagues. And I thought I was past. Hey, that is one option. The other option is, hey, buckle down, do your work, get it done, and rediscover what has always made you good. And that is exactly what Alex Vesia has done. Give him mad props since his first outing where he gave up the 5 runs in the 2/3 of an inning. He has gone. So welcome back to Keegan Curtis. Got to see him quite a bit last year in AA Tulsa. Kind of an interesting story about him. Hey, it was the first time, they say you see something new every day. You go to a ballpark. Last time that I saw Keegan Curtis with my own eyes, he threw 7 sliders in a row. 7 sliders in a row. I had never seen that before in my life. There is a good look at the young man, Keegan Curtis. There's a good fastball right there. He made his appearance yesterday for AAA Oklahoma City. Got brought up from the complex. That's Patrick Mazeika catching them there. He went 1 2/3 innings. He gave up 1 run on AA Tulsa Drillers. They scored 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 8th, and 1 in the 9th. That was all they could muster. Although they did tie the game in the top of the 9th. You're going to see a base hit by the catcher you're seeing on the screen, Carsontaylor, on a really good at bat. But they dropped the series finale to the Corpus Christi Hooks, the AA affiliates of the Houston Astros. They are now 24-15. The Tulsa Drillers are. Who you're seeing right here is Riverryan, who went 4 in the third inning. He gave up 4 hits, just 3 walks and 3 strikeouts, and he has just been simply fantastic. Big time on the year. His ERA is 2.17. Riverryan's is. So he has been just absolutely phenomenal so far on the year. As a matter of fact, on the year, okay, he has gone scoreless in 4 of his 8 starts. That's not outings, that's starts. And he averages going more than 3 innings each start. And he's gone scoreless in 4 of those and 7 out. He's given up 0 or 1 run in 7 out of his 8 starts. That's big time. The young man that was traded over from the Padres to the Dodgers for Matt Beatty, who is no longer even with the Padres. As a matter of fact, Matt Beatty is now with San Francisco. So I think it's safe to say that the Dodgers won that trade. So his ERA is 2.17 on the year. Hitting-wise, on the day, Jose Ramos had a hit. Eddysleonard, who we're going to cover in this video, had a couple. Okay, so many times, these guys are so talented that they go out and they have their A game, and when they have their A game, things just work out pretty easy for them, especially relief pitchers, because you can go out and literally throw 5 pitches and be done with your 1 inning. When you're in an organization like Tulsa and you have so many different guys that need to have innings and need to throw, especially on a Sunday, you don't want anybody to leave the week with not getting their work in. So really, sometimes whether it's 3 pitches or 4 pitches or however it may be, you may only get 1 inning, and that may, like I said, not last very long. So many times that happens to these guys like Ryansublette that are talented. But I'll tell you what, Sublette, he showed a lot of grit yesterday. The performances that I like to watch are the ones where they go out and it doesn't look like, they have total command of the pitches like they would like to, where they're not completely on their A game. Okay, how do they grit? That's Emmanuel Vargas right there, by the way, playing right field. He usually plays first base, but creating versatility with him. How do they look when they're not on their A game? I would squarely say that was Ryansublette yesterday, okay, and boy, he just dug in. He got gritty. Another reason why, if you follow Dodgers daily much, I'm super high on this guy, and he figured out a way to go scoreless in 1 2/3 innings, despite the fact that he had 2 walks that he normally doesn't have. So, hey, in a lot of ways, one of the most impressive performances for Ryansublette, the young man out of Texas Tech, the Red Raider. I would have to say that Eddysleonard, I think if you asked him at the beginning of the year, he's on the 40-man roster. I think if you asked him, he would tell you he was pressing because, hey, you had the shortstop situation. Gavin Lux gets hurt, and then Miguel Rojas is hurt for a while. And you have to be thinking, if you're Eddysleonard, hey, I'm already on the 40-man. If I just go on a big streak right here, I might end up in the major leagues here in a week or 2. I think that he had those kind of thoughts creeping through his mind. I have not talked to him. That is pure speculation. That is purely my opinion. But I think that led to him getting off to the slow start. I think those thoughts led him to press just a touch. And I think, now that things have settled down, he has gotten comfortable again, and he is just in the mind frame of, hey, I'm going to perform. Wherever my feet are at, that's where my focus is going to be at, not going to think. Tell you what, this is what it's all about right here. I'm going to scroll through some pictures that you're going to see of Braydonfisher, and right here, that is his high school coach from Clear Falls Baseball, and then his parents also got to go down and see him. Clear Falls is in the League City area, which is in the Houston area, and the Tulsa Drillers were in Corpus Christi, which is south of San Antonio. So they were about 3.5 hours south and west of where Braydonfisher grew up, and he had a whole posse of people come and watch him. They got to take pictures with him. They got to see him pitch. This, my friends, hey, we get caught up in the wins and losses, and this is a results-based deal. Hey, you have to. Okay, here's that game-tying right here. That game-tying base hit right back up the box into center field. Carsontaylor, 2 outs, 2 strikes, top of the 9th. Boy, and he just spikes one right back up the middle. This young man out of Virginia Tech, just like nickbiddison. He's done a lot better as far as just adjusting to the catcher's position. And I'll tell you what, in the last 2 years, his defense has come a long, long ways. And he's always been a switch hitter. And to his credit, I've never been real high on his right-handed swing. I've always thought his left-handed swing was so good. Hey, why waste at bats trying to hit right-handed when you can hit left-handed as well as he can? So he's actually ditched the right side. He's gone back to being only left-handed, and I'll tell you what, man, it has absolutely paid off. I'm telling you, this kid, Carsontaylor, can flat hit. He can absolutely rake, and now that he's gone exclusively back to just the left side. Okay, he's hitting .355 in May. His OPS is 1139, and that's in the face of catching, one of the best pitching staffs, well, the best pitching staff in the minor leagues. Guys that throw 100 miles an hour, 98 miles an hour, so he never can feel his thumbs. He can't feel his left hand. It's tough duty. Of course, Diego Cartaya is there as well. But Carson Taylor, man, .355 in May. Keep up the great work. If you can't tell, I'm pumped because I love this young man. Had a chance to talk to him on 3 different occasions. He'll immediately go to Coach Sheff there at Virginia Tech. Coach Sheff was like, the Great Lakes Loons scored 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and they finished off a really good week. 6-3 over the West Michigan Whitecaps, and they had a good week again to go to 25-14. What you're seeing right here, you are seeing Alex Freeland, the young man, very talented switch hitting shortstop out of UCF. One of the guys, I'm telling you, man, this guy Alex Freeland, he has some of the best power potential of any prospect at any position in the organization. This dude has massive power. He's a switch hitter, and he also ought to have the ability to hit for average as he gets comfortable in his professional career. But I'm telling you, man, watch this power right here. It is big time power to the point. Boom. I mean, in opposite field, man. That is a lot of power, and I get that my information. I don't even see it. Boy, it is great to see Damon Keith heat up. I warned you he would about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I warned you right about the time the weather warmed up, so would Damon Keith. And boy, I'm not right very often, but I was right in that scenario. Damon Keith has been hot as a firecracker as of late. He had another multi-hit day yesterday, including a 6th home run that you just saw, and he has multi-hits in 4 out of his last 5 games. He also has hits in 11 out of his last 12. Hey, don't run into Yander Fernandez there. Hey, actually, if the runner laps the runner in front of him, they're actually put out. All right, my man, Robo, that's Jace Young hitting, and Jace Young went to Texas Tech. And I tell you what, him and his brother Josh Young, they are just absolutely awesome baseball players, man. And I'm telling you, I saw between Josh Young and Jace Young at Texas Tech, Oklahoma State trying to beat them. I'm not sure I've ever seen an Oklahoma State pitcher ever get either Josh Young or the young man you're seeing on your screen here, Jace Young, out. So when Justin Robleski, I apologize for the video being a little bit blocky here. Not a whole lot I can do about it. Sometimes that happens on the minor league feeds. When I saw Robo actually get Jace Young out with my own eyes, it was a total celebration because I think it was the first time I've ever seen an Oklahoma State pitcher get Jace Young out in my life, or his brother Josh Young. So right there, I was celebrating when I saw that. Okay, but on a serious note, great outing for Robo. I've told you, after his Tommy John, the more he goes, the more stretched out he gets. This dude has big-time stuff. He went 5 innings yesterday. He gave up just 2 runs on 3 hits and 4 strikeouts. And Robo's ERA this month is just .073. The young man who is from north of Atlanta. He is just so talented, and he is such a hard worker. Okay, all right, we're going to all take a yawn, and we're going to kind of, just rewind and see. Okay, I joke. Aldrich Costa on the bump. Guess what? He pitched. He didn't give up a run. He gave up 2 weak ground balls, and he didn't give up any runs. Okay, in other news, the sun comes up in the east, and it goes down in the west, and we've got a lot to get to in the Rancho game. That is Kenneth Betancourt. Look at that. Boy, he had a good day yesterday. As a matter of fact, he has been hot as a firecracker lately, kind of like Damon Keith. He hit that one deep in the Visalia sky. Yesterday, he also had a double. Rancho, they wasted no time. They scored 8 runs in the first 2 innings. They scored 2 in the 6th, and they won 10-5. There is way too much to talk about in the box score. We're just going to get right to it, and we're going to get right into the videos of the action yesterday for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Who you're seeing right here is Kenneth Betancourt. He had a double as well as his home run, and raynedoncon. I'm going to rewind that so you can see it again. You talk about massive power. Look at that, man. That dude gets some leverage. He stays behind the ball, and when he hits it, I always talk about with raynedoncon, it stays hit. He had 3 hits, including his 8th home run that you just saw. That's the 4th most in the Cal League, and he also had 3 RBIs, and he scored 3 times yesterday for Rancho. So I'd say that this young man that played shortstop, big boy, thayronliranzo, you didn't get the beginning of that home run, but just wait. You'll see a couple more here in a minute. What talent this young man. Wow. Okay, he hit 2 home runs yesterday right-handed, and then he turned around and then hit left-handed and just smacked one as well. He singled left-handed. So, hey, 3 hits, 2 right-handed. 2 of the hits were right-handed were home runs. What a massive talent thayronliranzo is. Young catching prospect, another catcher in the Dodgers organization. Liranzo is hitting .327 in May. His OPS is 1175, and he has 7 home runs just this month. He's second in the Cal League in home runs, left-handed right there. Look at that. Kind of has that Robinson Cano, kind of a mix between Robinson Cano. Hey, this is the day of the Hokies for Virginia Tech. This is the second Virginia Tech Hokie we're going to talk about. The first one, Carsontaylor, we talked about for AA Tulsa. How about nickbiddison? He graduated last year. Still a little bit miffed that, hey, me being an Oklahoma State fan, you know, OU the big rival. OU went to Virginia Tech last year for the Supers. It came down to the last game. You know, the Supers in college are best 2 out of 3. Virginia Tech got the big crowd. They were excited. They had a whole bunch of people there, and OU won the game. So I'm still Jorge Puerta is another catcher / outfielder, versatile type player that can play just about anywhere. And he had 3 hits yesterday for Rancho at an RBI, and he played left field yesterday. He catches some, you know, that Rancho club. They have Jesus Calise, who is a top 30 prospect. Thayronliranzo, Jorge Puerta, again, just an embarrassment of riches at the catcher spot at every single level. AA Tulsa, well, they have Diego Cartaya and Carsontaylor. Carsontaylor's been a top 30 prospect in the past. Diego Cartaya being the #1 prospect in the Dodgers organization. I was excited to see Luis Valdez. This was the first time the 19-year-old I had a chance to see him with my own eyes. He's out of Navajoa, Sonora, Mexico, and this is his 3rd year with the organization. First with an affiliate, so that typical long left-hander that likes to paint that ball in the outside corner. Gabeemmet had a clean inning for Rancho. I love Emmett because his ball moves. It's kind of like Audrey Acosta. Look how that ball moves. He has that natural arm side move out of Folsom County Community College. Look at that movement right there. That's not, I don't think he's trying to pronate and induce that. I think that just happens. Look at how that ball comes back in on a right-handed bat. Emmett has an ERA down to Joelibarra. I love this young man. Boy, he comes right at hitters. That's about 96 right there that you just saw. And that 4-seam up in the zone, throwing his fireballs again to home plate. He went scoreless in 1.2 innings, and he has been absolutely awesome this year. Ibarra's ERA is down to 104, and he is must-watch for me. I just love his style. I love how he attacks hitters. I love how he kind of has an intimidating presence to him, and so there you have it. There's our show for you today. I told you it was going to be a busy one. Again, you had all Los Angeles lose, and then the AA Tulsa Drillers lose, and then you had the other 3 wins. So it was a mixed bag, but you always want the win at the top. And then, again, you have the big series starting, the big 2-game series to continue your 10-game road, your road swing, if you will, at Atlanta, the 3-game series, then at Tampa Bay. And you have the 2 rookies back-to-back. Gavin Stone tonight, Bobby Miller tomorrow. So super exciting as if you're a Dodgers fan, especially considering that you're in first place and you get to see some of your best arm talent come up and pitch. So that's our show for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you tune in tomorrow as well. And hey, before we get out of here, just one last reminder, if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily by donating, we do now have a GoFundMe account. It's in the description. Just scroll down to the description, click the link, and it'll take you right to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe account where you can help by donating. Also, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment.